Welcome, Cedar Shoals. My name is Summer Crawford, and you're watching WJAG-TV. In August of last year, the NAACP organized a march that brought awareness to many issues within communities, such as education and social injustice. The march was titled Journey for Justice as the marchers traveled from Selma, Alabama to Washington, D.C. During their journey through Athens, I had the opportunity to meet some of the marchers as well as other key participants. Everyone had different reasons for participating. Some were marching for political views, others for family members. But looking back on these interviews, I realized that everyone were really marching for the same thing. One, they care and they want change. Those were the motives that pushed them. Spending time with the marchers opened my eyes to not only be a part of the action, but to be a part of change.
Woohoo! Go NAACP marchers!
On August 16, 2015, a group of activists led by the NAACP came to Ebenezer Baptist Church West in Athens, Georgia. The NAACP, as well as other groups, united together to march across parts of America to bring awareness to political and economic issues within the community. The march was titled Journey for Justice.
So the Journey for Justice is an 860-mile journey, as it literally is titled, from Selma, Alabama to Washington, D.C. And we're really marching because we are looking to create momentum for a policy agenda or a set of laws that we want federal legislators to pass. So we want them to restore the Voting Rights Act. We want them to look at racial profiling and police reform bills. We want them to look at public education funding and how we are giving students the resources that they need in schools. But more importantly than that, we also want people, everyday people in communities across the country, to know that they have a voice.
The march began on August 1st in Selma, Alabama. Each day, the marchers marched from 20 to 22 miles with the rotation of some riding the bus while others marched on foot. The march concluded on September 16th in Washington, D.C., with completing a little over 1,000 miles.
This appears to be an impossible task. And when you think about 860 some odd miles, but also people see reform in the legislative process, policy changes, as an impossible task. And so we met an impossible task with an impossible task. And so when we say take one step, 1 mile, 3 blocks, it's about all of us collectively working together to overcome impossible tasks.
I think one of the biggest things that really created the momentum and energy for the march is the spirit of young people across the country that have been organizing, both inside of the NAACP and with different grassroots movements and organizations and coalitions in their local community. And one of the things that the NAACP is committed to is we've got to make sure that we harness the energy of this moment to achieve something sustainable so that the next generation of folks that are entering adulthood don't have to fight the same battles that previous generations have fought.
After completing their journey through Georgia, their next stops were South Carolina and North Carolina, followed by Virginia, and then Washington, D.C. as their final stopping point. During their stay in Athens, the marchers were housed at Ebenezer Baptist Church West on North Chase Street. While at Ebenezer, the NAACP hosted teach-ins to expand on the issues of voting rights, public education, and equal economic opportunities. The church provided the marchers with meals each day, as well as shelter with the help of the local Red Cross, providing the church with cots to accommodate the marchers.
Y'all want to bring some water out there? Put it on the table, okay?
We have been really blessed to have found communities that have embraced this effort, as well as people who actually didn't like it, who have stood in front of our faces and called us names that our parents did not name us. But it's encouraging to have in communities who understand what this is about and embrace this effort, and understand that when we go to battle with people who won't, that it gives us the strength so that we can persevere.
I think even more importantly, one of the things that we've seen since we arrived in Athens is a very strong community. And we oftentimes hear and refer to Dr. King when he talks about this notion of the beloved community. And I think Athens has personified over the last few days, really, as we've been in and out of the town, a city that is committed to building community.
Right.
The first step of the march took place at the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma. On March 7, 1965, around 600 civil rights marchers who set out to march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, were attacked by state troopers and law enforcement officials, which became known as Bloody Sunday. During the time of the march marked the 50th anniversary of the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
This march right here it holds so much symbolism to me, because if there had not been a civil rights movement in the 20th century, we wouldn't know about equality the way that we do now, and we wouldn't know that equality in the 21st century was being tested again. See, what most people don't understand is that the march symbolizes the movement has continued even until the 21st century. And this movement never stopped. We the people stopped, because now we are in another phase of watching inequality.
President Lyndon Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act on August 6, 1965, which allowed African Americans their right to vote. Although this act guaranteed every citizen the right to vote, strict ID laws, cutbacks on early voting opportunities, as well as other new voting laws have decreased voting turnouts, particularly minority groups. According to the American Prospect, voting participation among African Americans and other groups have soared in 2008. But out of the 11 states with the highest African American turnout, 7 passed new voting laws, making it much more difficult to vote.
I saw a sign that said, I love the sign, and I keep saying it, old issues, new generation. And that's what it's really about. For me, it's about passing the baton so that younger people like yourself can move forward and advocate for change in their communities.
We are at a crucial time, because you all are a generation that can do something about it. See, you don't have to step into the past and pick up the hate that caused these kinds of things. You all have a unique position, because y'all have the history, but y'all have members of the historical body that are still present, and you have a brighter future if you work together, because we have seen the power of Dr. King's dream come real. Now that some people see that the dream is a reality and how life could really be, they're afraid of that reality.
There's still people out there who will tell you there isn't even a problem to fix. There's people out there who will tell you there really isn't racial injustice in this country. There's no racism left, and it's just painful to hear. It's ridiculous. So more than anything, I just want to be part of saying there's a problem, we have to fix it, and like you said, it's time to really get people to change their hearts, pay attention, and make a difference.
Journey for Justice has partnered with many groups during this march, including Common Cause, the Sierra Club, Communication Workers of America, Democracy Initiative, and the Black Women's Roundtable, just to name a few.
And this is just not the NAACP. We're joined by a host of partners who either support us, resource, boots on the ground, water and Gatorade. We have led the charge, but this is not a task that we could do alone, even for an organization that's existed more than 100 years. We've got wonderful partners. One group that has been on the ground from the very beginning is a group of 150 rabbis who are carrying the Torah, and they walk with the Torah each and every day, along with walking the 20 some odd miles. And they come from across the country, and so when you believe in something passionately, you will make the sacrifice.
This is our primary guide and symbol. And so when we're marching with civil rights, we feel like we're really fulfilling the mandates of the Torah.
Right.
So it just seems carrying it, it would be like carrying the Constitution in a way. It's saying we're marching in this, really believe in it.
The ability to take something that was written thousands of years ago and literally make it live by walking with us, and that's been the focal point when Maurice Eisendrath carried it many years ago with Dr. King, and why we insist on making sure that people say, yeah, this is the sacred scripture. These are lessons. This isn't new. This isn't politically correct. This is what's supposed to happen.
Rabbis Mark Klein and Jason Rosenberg traveled away from their homes to join the Journey for Justice March. Along with others, they carried the Torah throughout the march to symbolize their stance in the movement.
Years ago, I served as rabbi in Florence, South Carolina, and I co-led the march in 2000 to take the flag down off the State House dome. So I have been knee-deep in this work my entire career. And I'm here because it's time to say enough. We've had a lot of time to make laws. We've had a lot of time to change minds. The hearts haven't changed. It's time we call attention to the fact that some hearts have to change.
Everything that's been on the news and all the reports we've been seeing, it just got to the point where I felt it had to do something. Just sitting on the sidelines and thinking how terrible everything was didn't seem good enough anymore. So when this march got announced and when the Reform Rabbis group, linked up with it, and we all tried to make sure that as many rabbis as possible marching, I thought this is a chance to do something.
The Ku Klux Klan is marching in New Jersey now. And as emboldened as people are feeling to continue racial violence, we got to speak a whole lot louder to end it and bring people together.
Show me what unity looks like.
Show me what unity looks like.
Show me what love looks like.
Show me what love looks like.
Marchers had come from all over America to participate in the Journey for Justice March to stand for their values and beliefs. People of all ages participated. Some participated for moral support, while others marched for personal reasons, sharing their stories along the journey.
Anniversary of the death of Leo Frank, who was a Jew that was lynched in Georgia and really gave birth to the resurgence to the Ku Klux Klan. One of the things, if you know about this case, is that a man by the name of Thomas Watson was a journalist that actually he owned a paper that actually wrote front page story after Leo Frank's trial, and this Thomas Watson wrote on the front page of the paper, "Our courts have failed us," basically calling for the lynching of Leo Frank. Today, unexpectedly, we marched over the Thomas Watson Bridge with the Torah that I was holding. I felt like I was bringing the right value to the moment, the right values to the moment. I was, in a way, rewriting or imbuing history with the right values when I walked over that bridge. It was like a do-over, doing it with the values I was carrying close to my breast. And I was walking over that bridge, and I was saying, you see, these are the values that should have been present on that day and on this day.
And for me, this is a moment for our country that we need to see change. It's really about being present, and I think there's something beautiful about being a part of history. I want to be a part of this history.
It's a historically important thing. I think it's going to bring about a lot of change, and under our president, Cornell Brooks, it's brought about change in legislations, improvement in the black community. It's everything to me, and I do everything I can to support it.
NAACP President Cornell William Brooks oversaw the organization of the Journey for Justice March.
Bringing people together, both within the NAACP, because as you know, we have 2,100 branches, units all over the country, all 50 states, abroad, and there's more diversity within than we realize. On our board, we have 64 board members. 1/10 of the board, 7 members, are college students. So they have their own view. Sometimes the rural people have a different view from the urban people. The people in the small towns, the folks in the South, and like trying to get everyone to come together, even on the journey, right? So it's like some people on the journey come through their state, their city. So I'd say sometimes the toughest part is bringing us together so that we can bring other people together. But it's a fun job. It's the most fun I've ever had.
I'd say the most challenging thing is kind of sometimes harnessing that passion so that we can make one decision. But it's always for the good because we live and sleep and drink this.
Brooks not only wants young people to be involved in the movement, but also consider their actions on a daily basis.
So when I was 16 and 17, I said things that I probably shouldn't have said. I did some things that probably, when I think about it, I could have done it a little better. And so the one thing I would say is, when you're an advocate, the point of advocacy is to persuade. So if you advocate in a way that causes people not to listen to what you're saying, you're not being effective.
I've had instances where a police officer pulls up to my car. I always roll down all the windows, turn the inside light on, put my wallet on the dashboard, open, driver's license out. Because I've been through this so many times. And now the funniest thing is, one day a police car pulls up behind me, I pull over, I do all this, got my license out, the guy comes up to me and says, "So why'd you pull over?" I said, "I pulled over because you pulled me over." He said, "I didn't pull you over." He says, "Where you going?" I said, "Well, I'm going home, I'm tired." He said, "I'm going home, I'm tired." The only reason I pulled you over, the only reason I'm walking up to your car is because you pulled over. The point being is, I've been pulled over so many times for no reason. I just assumed that that's what it was about. And here's this guy, he's going home. We both live in the same neighborhood. He's tired, I'm tired, and we're both working on a set of assumptions. So, but here's the reality. It's very frightening. The son who's 16, the other one's 18. Sophomore and graduating senior. So the oldest, he's just now driving. So he hadn't been pulled over yet. We've had lots of conversations about how do you interact with the police. How do you basically send the signal, there's no need to be afraid of me, and let's have a conversation about what you're concerned about. I've been pulled over 15, 16 times, no reason, no warnings, no tickets, just because I'm driving an SUV. I had a gun, a police officer reached for his gun, because I was reaching for my glasses and he thought I was reaching for something. So yeah, I worry about a lot. I'm sure your parents think the same way.
Is if I have a disregard for your life, and you have a disregard for my life, what kind of lives do we have? How can I raise my children knowing that there is a set that says their lives are not worth living? We have to put a stop to this.
We look back at this time and people want to know, where was I? What am I doing about what's going on in the world? And you look back at this time, my children, my grandchildren. What did granddad have to say? What did grandpa have to do about this? Like, which side was I on? Was I silent? What did I do? And I have one small guy, but I have one whole life. That life I want to give toward justice. I want to give it toward being on the right side of history.
You know, after this is over, the struggle continues. The beauty in the struggle continues. It's saying that is that you understand it is not a period at the end. There's always work. And so as we finish that, there'll be new work to do. And we're going to leave work for you to do after we exit stage left, because the struggle continues.
And the journey is just, though 860 miles, it's just one step in a longer continuum to change the world.
Make sure you check out our website at www.cedarblueprints.com for more interesting stories about our students and local community. Make sure you also follow us on Twitter and Instagram and like us on Facebook. Until next time, I'm Summer Crawford, and thanks for watching WJAG-TV.
This is what love looks like. Show me what diversity looks like. Show me what the future looks like. Show me what hope looks like.